Ah, ah, ah. Bienvenido al Isla Fantástico. Yo quiero cerveza. This is an example of what the Judas variety is. This is hashtag Judas variety. You'll see it under there. It's filled with everything now. It goes on every video I do. So everything I do, it'll say Judas variety, and it has to be that way. I at first thought maybe it would just be something that steps outside of, the something for everyone to hate, or these playlists. It's a Judas reading. See, that's one too. That's right there up in there, hashtag Judas. No, I just make that a playlist. I do also another one called 6 January and its children. It hasn't stopped yet. I thought when I started it on 6 January 2021 that it wouldn't last long, but it's still going. But, there's something for everyone to hate. This is where you really come to understand it, is in the Judas variety. Hashtag Judas variety. Because I have a playlist for Siete. He's my cat, not my cat. He's my friend. He's not my friend. I can be his friend because I respect him that much. But for me to say he's my friend, that means I respect him more than I know he's really willing to take and let me be an owner of some part of him. So I do one on Siete. People like that. He just walks around and goes, ah. He attacks other cats. He goes, ah. And he thinks, he's like, ah. There's a whole story when Siete came home in the Siete playlist. It's one of the very firsts. You have to go all the way to the bottom to get to it. But it's me cleaning a litter box here, and I tell the story of when he came home to me. It's beautiful. People watch these videos with Siete and they say, wow, I like this guy. I like this channel. And they subscribe. And it's like, oh. When I do one of the videos with Siete and the subscriptions come up, I look and I say, that's not going to work for very long. And the next morning I wake up and I see them go duk, 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 because they found something for everyone to hate, because it's part of that. You see something you like, all of a sudden there's something else you don't like. And I have people that follow me that I speak to and comment with often. It's interesting. I know they don't like. I'll tell you what, this is my gift. This is why I never read up on being a cult leader. They don't like my ideas, but they like me. I didn't read up on being a cult leader because I did not want to abuse people. I want to live in a fucking place where the neighbor doesn't feel abused and feeling like they need to abuse me to fucking make it right. It's like an old Indian fucking thing that I'd heard of. Native Americans, I read it in an anthropology book about how there was this thing where at least they talked about this one tribe that if somebody, you saw me do that, I just cleared my ears. Excuse me while I clear my throat. cigarette went out. And the thing is, in the process, I never knew I could do a Gilbert Gottfried impression. Never tried one in my life, and I heard him talking. I'm not going to do it again. That's what she said. But there was a tribe, they talked about that if somebody died, no matter what, natural causes, anything, in their clan, in their little place, you know, their clans, their tribes, their chiefdoms. I read it all in Chief Joseph of the Nez Perce, that book that I read. And I said, and I went to his place and I tried to give it to him, and they already had one. It's out of publication. So I gave it to a friend of mine, a new friend, because I thought he might be really interested. It was my blood sister Melissa's husband. We did a blood thing. Never had any physical relations outside of sharing our blood. Cut each other. Fucking yeah. Sometimes people still do that. You think I'm crazy? Imagine how crazy the world must be if I keep running into people randomly that will do this sort of thing. I don't do it for everyone. Meet and Melissa, 2 people. Oh, let's not forget Phil from back home in Gaylord. And, well, I'm not going to get into it all. It seems that everyone I mention, another one comes up. But it's not everyone. But if I've met enough people that will do this, that means I'm not as far out as you think I am. You might be waiting for me to come around. So is the tribe, if somebody just died, they would run to another clan and fucking kill someone. And it was justified. It wasn't that those people did anything to make this person die. It's that these people wanted revenge, you know. They wanted to be avenged. They wanted vindication. And so they go over there and take it from the next tribe. So with, I don't know what I was talking about. That's a variety thing. But as I'm going through things, well, didn't realize I was ever going to have to explain on here that Tanner Hill. But I don't think people quite get it all the time. No offense. Humanity is just smart enough to be stupid. But I found a piece of paper and this stuff so I was going to read from it. I thought I was going to have to go get my glasses, but look, this was at a time when I finally realized I needed to leave space between the things so I could make little corrections, revisions, without having to be scrawled in. It took me years to do that, but I got it. So this must not be too long ago. The weird thing is, at the top of this page, it says 1110. And I'm like, okay, that wouldn't be such a big deal. I didn't even notice that 1110 at the top of the page, except when I pulled this piece of paper out, it has it written on a Post-it note that's stuck to it that says 1110. 1110, 1110, 1110. That must mean something. But one of the rare times I didn't write a date and a time on it, so I don't know what it's about. I write dates, times, days of the week, and a little note at the bottom of everything I finish writing. And without all of those things, when I look back 30 years later, I don't know exactly where I was. But if I can see that little note, like um, a squirrel fell out of the tree and looked embarrassed, it might be a note at the bottom. That's I've never used as a note, but if I were to write the story, I can tell you, I did see that. If I were to write the story about it, at the bottom it would say, squirrel fell out of the tree and felt embarrassed. It would take me to the exact same moment, but the time of day tells me what kind of state I was in. So it's a Judas reading. Just trying to help you write your journals. I don't do it so much anymore, but everything I keep dragging out of the filth in here, I'm clearing things. I'm condensing, and I see there's a reason for many of these things I didn't throw away. I won't know about this one until I read it. I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to read you. This is a Judas reading. Ah, isn't it something? If the intro lasts longer than the reading, which is interesting. Is speaking about something for everyone to hate. I see now that poor guy, his speeches at his rallies are getting shorter and shorter, and people are leaving earlier and earlier. And obviously, most of these people that show up just now, they look just to see what a mess it is. And then they leave. And that poor guy, had said within the last 2 weeks, he says, they say people are leaving. If people are going to be leaving, I'm just going to quit talking, like it was a threat. But as it turns out, I hear now people are just walking the hell out. Not even halfway through his strand, and he's quitting, and he's saying that's it, and he leaves. He's a man of his word. Finally, we find out something he tells the truth about. So, yeah, they spend more time in intro than they spend in enjoying him. Or it, whatever you call it. Not even convinced any of those kids are really his. That's why he says he'll pay IVF for everybody. His wives made him believe that they couldn't get pregnant, so they had said they were doing IVF to have his kids, and they just threw away his sperm, the vial, and banged the doctor. Well, not the doctor, probably the orderly. No offense against orderlies, no offense against any position of work in this entire universe. There will always be people, there will always be someone who says, I don't really care that much about that. This is my last time here. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to live. And every level needs intelligent people. Every level. There's no level of humanity down to the lowest that doesn't have somebody intelligent in it. It's necessary to keep the whole thing together, to let those intelligent people sit down there and share with the others, while at the same time being left the fuck alone. Something for everyone to hate. So yeah, I'm going to read this one piece of paper. I don't know what it means. I know it says 1110. 1110. The first thing I can come up with now that it's been back there working while I'm talking. I haven't been thinking about it at all, but it just pops out. What is 1110? 1110 is one before 1111. So maybe This right here is something that we're on the cusp of achieving our wish come true. Let's take a look. I'm gonna have to take a smoke and cigarette went out. Okay. I know that wasn't time for you to go to the bathroom and make it back. But I also know that if you have a bucket next to you and you didn't want to miss a thing, you can still be halfway through it. I don't know how big you are, how small you are, how lazy you are, how driven you are. This has given everybody enough time to still just sit. And if you're still pissing in the bucket, it's okay, because we're going to start reading and you're here. Don't get too excited. I don't know what's in it. I had some guy come by preaching today about eternity, asking me if I was ready for it. He said that was the most important question. I looked at him and thought about it. And then I looked at him again to tell him that I didn't know that I believed there is such a thing. Then he starts about God, and I don't know that had anything, I didn't know that had anything to do with it. If we're already in eternity, I mean, if eternity encompasses all existing time with no beginning and without end, how did they, how do we go about excluding the qualifying round, we're in? How do we go about excluding the qualifying round we're in right now? It certainly isn't limbo, because our cars rust and our bodies sag. I guess this is meant to be titled. I always keep my titles till the end. I never know what the title is. Once I had a title. This title certainly isn't limbo, because our cars rust and our bodies sag. This title is called The Timeless Nature of Limbo. I almost went into the time where I wrote a title before I wrote a story, but I knew it was going to get in the way of all this. I should have kept quiet for a minute to let it seep into your mind. I like it. It certainly isn't limbo, because our cars rust and our bodies sag. It's the timeless nature of limbo. It's about forever. It's about now. It's about was. It is about is. But you can't have all of this. You can have all of those things without eternity. But if you are to have eternity, you need to have all those things. 11:10. 11:10. Maybe that is the power of 11:11 is eternity. It's all one. I would imagine that if one had a color, it would be what they call white. But white is not a color any more than black is. Black is nothing. White, if it's eternity, if one is eternity, white is an entity of colors. The very same way you can say, if you're going to call us white people and call everybody else colored, if we are actually white, we are multicolored. We're more colored than anything you could ever imagine if we are white. So for us to use the word colored like it's an attack on somebody, we're dragging ourselves down. We are insulting ourselves with our own insult to an extent that we don't even understand. I do. And now you do. Certainly isn't limbo because our cars rust and our bodies sag. Did a couple of videos driving around within the last couple of days, and I'm getting responses from people that are very Christian, and I like that very much. These are what I consider to be true Christians. You want to go into the full Judas variety? They are friendly. They care. They pray for me every time. Now I say, don't pray for me. I don't want them to know where I'm at. I'm lying low. These people pray for me, so I say back to them, and I mean it. I appreciate more than anybody would ever know. As much as you might know that I stand against organized religion, as I see Christian people of Christian faith, people of Islam, people of any faith, they try to say Buddhism, it's not supposed to be a religion. It is a faith, though. When I see anybody of any faith that really believes in making the world a better place with it, I appreciate them highly. There aren't that many left anymore. And so if I offend any of you, I appreciate your forgiveness. It's not me owning you by appreciating your forgiveness. It's me respecting and honoring you. If you can give me forgiveness, it gives me forgiveness to give back. And if we can all forgive each other, that next step is a true understanding. We understand each other. That means we don't have to forgive each other anymore. We don't have to tolerate each other. Tolerating somebody, that just tells everybody that you're too weak to take them over and kill them all off. You're just going to have to tolerate them. Let them be a little bit until we can get a few more of us together. True forgiveness does not require forgiveness. It leads true understanding. Well, I guess we just went on to just one more playlist. If you made it this far, there's a playlist called The Judas Life Coach. There is a way that we can use everything that Christianity had and still understand there are dark aspects of it where people will try to abuse us for being nice. And the platinum rule: do unto others as they would do to you. Because if you allow them the idea of the golden rule, see, we're moving forward, we're not going back. If you follow the golden rule, it just says, do unto your neighbor as you would have them do unto you. Well, you're just hoping that they're going to be nice. And you can use that the first time or two, but after the first time or two, you realize they're going to fucking abuse you every chance they get because they see you as being weak. That's when the platinum rule comes. Do unto them as they do to you, as they would, as they shall. You put them down in their fucking hole. And this is the Judas Life Coach. Didn't mean to go so far. But remember, 11:10. 11:10. One step away from getting things right. White is white. White is colored.